Olá, meu nome é Yasmin Gomes, eu sou cursista de licenciatura em Educação Artística com habilitação em Desenho.
Hello, my name is Yasmin Gomes. I'm an artistic education undergraduate student specialized in drawing.
Bem-vindos à entrevista com o grupo Skype Lab.
And welcome to the Skype Lab interview,
que é um projeto de pesquisa em arte em cooperação com a Baden-Württemberg Stiftung,
which is an arts research project in cooperation with Baden-Württemberg Stiftung
e o Goethe-Institut, com a curadoria feita pelo professor Henning Eichinger, da Alemanha,
and Goethe-Institut, managed by Professor Henning Eichinger from Germany,
e a professora Maggie McCormick, da Austrália.
And Dr. Maggie McCormick from Australia.
O Skype Lab cresceu a partir do Skypetrait, Faces Transcontinentais, de 2012 a 2013.
Skype Lab expanded from Skypetrait, Transcontinental Faces, from 2012 to 2013.
O Skype Lab é uma pesquisa colaborativa entre as universidades Reutlingen, na Alemanha, a Universidade. A Universidade RMIT em Melbourne.
Right. Skype Lab is a collaborative research among Reutlingen University in Germany or RMIT University in Melbourne,
a Universidade Normal da China Oriental em Shanghai,
Oriental China University in Shanghai,
a Universidade do Atlântico na Colômbia,
Atlântico University in Barranquilla, Colômbia,
e a Universidade Federal do Rio de Janeiro no Brasil,
and the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro, in Brazil,
que explora o papel do desenho e do retrato na percepção da identidade no espaço público do Skype,
which explores the drawing portrait roles in the perception of identity through Skype Lab's public space.
A nossa entrevista é uma das etapas de desenvolvimento da Oficina de Desenho cego.
Our interview is one of the steps for developing the blind drawing workshop,
elaborada pelos projetos de extensão Arte 2, Pé de Moleque e Enganando o Olho,
which has been elaborated by the Arte 2, Pé de Moleque and Enganando o Olho extension programs.
No período pré-pandêmico, nós realizávamos oficinas presenciais na Associação de Moradores da Vila Residencial da UFRJ.
Hold on, nobody showed me this, but before the pandemic, you made some in-person workshops. Can you repeat again? Because nobody... em português. Ninguém me passou essa parte, então você fez um trabalho antes da pandemia, presencial, e o que mais?
Sim, na Vila de Moradores da UFRJ.
Okay, so before the pandemic, they had a work done in person in the Federal University Community Village.
Porém, após a interrupção das aulas presenciais, nós passamos a realizar oficinas.
But after the pandemic, we started to do the workshops.
E conversas criativas como essa que vamos ter hoje.
And creative conversations like the one we're going to have today.
E outros projetos também, tudo no modelo remoto.
And other projects, everything online.
Obrigada pela sua disponibilidade e presença aqui com a gente.
Thank you for your availability and attendance here with us.
E agora eu vou passar a palavra para a Luísa, que irá mediar algumas perguntas junto a Sara.
Now let's turn to Luísa, who will mediate some questions together with Sara.
Oi, gente, tudo bem? Eu sou Luísa.
Hello, guys. How are you? My name is Luísa.
Eu entrei em contato com a Henning por e-mail.
I was the one who reached out for you through email.
Eu também sou graduanda de licenciatura em Educação Artística, em Artes Plásticas.
I'm also an undergraduate student in plastic arts.
E vou estar mediando, junto com a Ana Sara Zacarias, a nossa entrevista.
And I'll mediate this interview with Sara Zacarias.
Por favor, falem devagar para a tradutora conseguir ter uma boa experiência e passar para todo mundo aqui.
Yes, and please speak slowly and take pauses very often for a better translating experience. Thank you.
Obrigada. Nós conhecemos o projeto Skype Lab por causa da parceria com a Universidade Federal do Rio de Janeiro. que aconteceu em 2017.
We got to know Skype Lab's project because of a partnership with the Federal University of Rio De Janeiro held in 2017.
Pesquisando sobre o projeto, nós podemos perceber a colaboração entre várias universidades de vários lugares do mundo, e que é uma das bases do Skype Lab.
By researching about this project, we were able to tell that one of Skype Lab's foundation is the cooperation among several universities around the world, which is also a foundation in Skype Lab.
Como foi a criação do conceito do Skype Lab?
So, first question, how was the creation process of Skype Lab's concept?
E qual é a importância dessa relação atravessar continentes na constituição desse laboratório?
And for the lab's constitution, what's the importance of this relation crossing continents?
Okay, as I'm the first who started this project with Maggie McCormick, I hope it's okay if I start the answer. Well, creation process, sorry?
Yeah, just please take some breaks, some pauses so that I can translate for you.
Yes.
All right, so ele disse que como dos primeiros a fazer esse projeto com a McCormick, ele gostaria de iniciar. Yes, go on.
I think it's important to tell a little story about the start.
É importante contar uma pequena história sobre o início. No.
I'm not a digital native.
You're not a what?
Digital native. I'm not grown up with digital technology, you know. When I studied, there were no computers and no handies, smartphones.
Quando ele começou, não tinha essa tecnologia toda de smartphones, computadores, okay?
And at about 2010 or 11, I noticed that our foreign students had much easier ways to communicate with their people or friends or family at home in Rio or somewhere else.
Ok, em 2010 ou 2011 ele percebeu que os estudantes estrangeiros tiveram mais facilidade de comunicar com outras pessoas através dessa tecnologia. Okay.
And this way of communication was cheap.
Esse jeito de comunicação é barato.
And then companies followed. They had their first application talks via Skype.
E as empresas seguiram esse caminho e começaram a usar o Skype.
And I thought either I get my head around and see how it works, or that was it.
Eu pensei, a única forma é ver como isso funciona, ou então eu estaria com problemas.
And so I sent an email to a friend at the RMIT University in Melbourne, Maggie McCormick.
Okay, então eu enviei um e-mail para um amigo McCormick na Universidade de Melbourne.
And asked her whether she would be interested with her master students to do a drawing portrait project via Skype.
Okay, perguntei para ela se ela teria interesse de pegar os alunos de mestrado e fazer por Skype desenho cego.
And at that time we didn't have a clue that the outcome would be a very big international project.
E na época nós não fazíamos ideia de que seria um resultado tão grande desse projeto.
Because Skype Lab or Skypetrait, which was the beginning, developed very slowly.
O Skype Lab ou Skypetrait, como era chamado no início, se desenvolveu muito devagar.
And so what we will probably hear in the next questions or answers is Skype Lab developed in several stages. And so the project developed and we figured out new artistic sort of outcomes, well, mostly the students.
Ok, então tiveram vários estágios de desenvolvimento e diferentes resultados com os estudantes.
And mostly after we had finished a part of Skype Lab, we discovered that what we were doing was not just playful and innovative and creative, but also had a structure in sort of retrospect.
Ok, então eles descobriram que não era apenas algo criativo ou uma simples brincadeira, mas que tiveram um papel importante na retrospectiva. Retrospective in what?
Sorry?
You said there was a retrospective in what?
No, we did a part of the project, and then we started thinking. Well, in between we thought as well, but we started thinking, and we figured out in retrospect. So from looking back, what had happened, and could give that a structure. That's
ok. Pudemos dar uma estrutura melhor a partir do momento que a gente fez uma retrospectiva do trabalho. Yes. Okay.
And then it was about the crossing continents, the second part of the question. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we could have done it with a university which is 50 kilometers from us.
Nós podíamos ter feito com uma universidade que era só 50 quilômetros de distância de nós.
But we wanted a very strong emotional impact, and to choose a university which is straight underneath us, 16,000 kilometers in distance, is something quite different.
Ok, mas nós quisemos um impacto emocional grande e decidimos usar uma faculdade que está a 16 mil quilômetros abaixo de nós. Okay.
So it's a difference of distance, of language, of cultures, and it was a big uncertainty.
Era uma diferença de línguas, idiomas, cultura, e foi bastante incerto.
And of course, there were rational things involved as well. It was to cross this continents via Skype technology and then physically. So we started it digitally via Skype, and after each project, we met in person.
Ok, começamos por Skype e depois nos conhecemos pessoalmente. Mas só um minuto, Henning, could you repeat the beginning where you said it was a rational problem?
Yeah. No, we had the emotional part, and the rational part was that we did an art project very seriously, with a bit of fun via the technology, but we didn't meet in person. But after each part of the Skype Lab digital meetings, we met in person, you know.
Okay.
We met physically.
Então, apesar de todo o lado racional, eles tiveram a diversão e depois de cada parte do projeto, feito online, eles se encontravam pessoalmente. Então, teve a parte física. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, that's it. Okay. So now it's
that's it, yeah, from my side.
All right.
Olá, pessoal.
Rapidinho, sabe? Obrigada por responder. Agora eu vou passar para outra mediadora.
All right, so she's appreciating your answer and she will turn to another person.
Olá,
Ana Sara
pessoal.
Zacarias.
Prazer.
Nice to meet you.
Meu nome é Sara Zacarias.
My name is Sara Zacarias.
Eu sou graduanda em artes plásticas.
I am our plastic arts undergraduate.
Eu estarei mediando esta entrevista junto com a Luísa Souza.
And I'll be mediating this interview with Luísa Souza.
E nossa segunda pergunta é:
And our second question is:
como ocorre o processo seletivo dos estudantes que participam do Skype Lab?
How does the selective process occur from students who participate in Skype Lab?
Ter alguma noção de arte, tecnologia ou design é um pré-requisito para participar?
Having any notion of arts is necessary to participate?
Ou qualquer um que tiver interesse pode contribuir?
Or anyone who has an interest can contribute?
Well, that's probably something for former students to answer.
Melhor os alunos responderem.
Okay, Javiera, are you here? I'm not sure if she's here. So, my name is Annie Kurtz, and I was former student. I was also the first generation of Skype Lab students.
Ok, could you hold on a second? Ok, então
Yes.
ela falou que o nome dela é Annie e ela foi uma estudante, aluna deles um tempo atrás, e foi a primeira, estava na primeira geração do Skype Lab. Ok, então.
So at that time, we were basically asked during our master's program if we were interested in such a project.
Ok, então na época, durante o mestrado, eles foram perguntados se estariam interessados nesse projeto.
And I'm also not a digital native, but I kind of grew up with digital tools. So I was a child when they came up. So I was very interested in just finding out more what it's doing to us. And at that time, Skype was the tool to go to.
Okay.
So I said yes, but we were, sorry.
Alright. Então ela também não nasceu nessa geração de tecnologia, né? Então ela foi aprendendo e resolveu ver o que eles podiam fazer com isso. Então ela decidiu aceitar. And go on.
And I meant to say we were also warned about the extra work because it was additionally to what we were to do during the program. So it was for those who were interested in extra work, let's say.
Okay. Então eles foram avisados que teriam um trabalho extra e então só quem estivesse realmente interessado em fazer o trabalho extra aceitaria. Ok. Go on.
Yes, I think that's pretty much it. So
All right.
I don't think there was no strict selection program, more like who would be interested in.
Entendi. Então não teve um processo seletivo muito estrito, era apenas quem estivesse interessado de fazer parte disso. Okay, thank you.
Algo que chamou nossa atenção no trabalho desenvolvido.
Something that caught our attention in this developed work
Foi a prática de desenho cego.
was the blind drawing practice.
Qual é a importância do desenho, principalmente o desenho cego, e da prática do retrato como método escolhido para as sessões de Skype Lab?
So what's the importance of blind drawing in the portrait practice as a method chosen for the Skype Lab sessions?
Just quickly, blind contour drawing is a technique which is funny, and so it doesn't scare the students.
Ok, então ele considera que o desenho cego é algo divertido e não assusta os alunos.
Are you familiar with the rules of blind contour drawing?
Você está familiarizado com as regras do desenho cego?
Okay. And the other thing is that according to I think it was Nicholas Sperry, a brain researcher, when you are doing blind contour drawing, the activity in your brain shifts from the left side to the right side, and the right side is the more creative and intuitive part of the brain.
Hold on, please. So, de acordo com o Nicholas, forgot his last name. Nessa técnica, você faz uma mudança do lado esquerdo para o lado direito do cérebro, que é mais criativo e mais intuitivo, e ele trabalha com pesquisas sobre o cérebro. Okay.
And the last point, blind contour drawing, the result is much more expressive, as if you would just try to draw very exactly the portrait.
E o resultado é muito mais expressivo, diferente do que se você estivesse apenas tentando desenhar exatamente o que você está vendo.
And I think as it turned out later to be a very important starting point, because it would break the ice. You would meet someone you have never seen before. And how do you start conversation with a stranger? And these drawings are very fast and fun, so you just have a relaxed time.
Ok, então ela considera que que abrangeu, esqueci em português qual é a expressão, mas que então você consegue comunicar com pessoas desconhecidas de forma relaxada e divertida, e eles perceberam isso ao longo do projeto. Isso. Thank you.
A gente realmente... Perdão.
I would like to say also that it was really important to the fact that you were just looking at the person and not at the paper, because you were really concentrated in every feature of the person, every detail of the surrounding spaces, and that helped us to understand this unknown person better.
Ok, ela acha importante falar que é muito legal você olhar para a pessoa ao invés de para o seu papel e poder observar todos os detalhes dela como uma forma de conhecê-los melhor. I forgot the last part. So I think that was it. All right. Thank you. Ana, o que você ia falar, Ana?
Que a gente realmente pensou no desenho cego como uma forma de praticar algo relaxante sem pressão de ser algo realista, né?
Okay, so she said we thought of the blind drawing as to be something relaxing instead of something realistic.
Então está muito conectado com a proposta que vocês tiveram.
So it's very connected to your proposal, your purpose in this.
Obrigada pela resposta.
Thank you for your answers.
Agora eu vou passar a palavra para a Luísa Souza.
Now turn to Luísa Souza again.
Voltei para fazer mais algumas perguntas.
I'm back for a few more questions.
Como se dá a metodologia de trabalho entre os professores e os participantes?
How is the work methodology among the participant teachers?
E depois, como se dá a dinâmica entre os estudantes e a manutenção das experiências do Skype Lab?
And then, how is the dynamic with students for maintaining Skype Lab's experiences?
Qual é o modo de agendamento e formação dos pares?
How is the scheduling and pair formation process?
Well, I start with the teachers then. It was a very democratic process because at the beginning we didn't have a real target or proper aim.
Ok, então foi bem democrático, começamos com os professores. Foi bem democrático porque no início nós não tínhamos um objetivo, um alvo muito correto, muito certo. Okay.
And though Maggie, McCormick and I developed this project and thought it will be done like we want it to be done, we much underestimated our students at that time.
E embora McCormick e eu pensamos que o projeto teria um resultado, nós subestimamos os alunos.
Because our students were very, how should I say it? Well, they started things we never thought of. They started to draw with a tablet. They started screenshots. Well, I heard from screenshots 10 years ago, but I was not really sure how to take some. And suddenly they opened dimensions which Maggie and I didn't think of. And that made it very, very exciting for us. And I'm pretty sure that Maggie and I learned at least as much as our students learned from this project.
Alright. Então, ele falou que os alunos abriram dimensões, que eles não tinham ideia, eles usaram tablets, prints, que ele não sabia nem como fazer isso. E foi muito interessante para eles e que ampliou os horizontes. Okay.
Maybe I can add that it started very chaotic and we had to get more and more organized as the groups got bigger.
Ok, começou de forma caótica e tivemos que nos organizar conforme o grupo foi aumentando.
Mas como eles decidiram os pares?
But how did they decide the pairs?
Oh, I think at the beginning we just agreed on the first pair, and then from there they found each other. When I was coordinating later with 3 groups, which was Shanghai, Australia, and Germany, I very strictly let them know when it's time to switch your partner, because otherwise we would have had chaos. So at the beginning it was open, make your own times, and later we would let them know, now it's time to, contact your next partner.
Ok, então no início eles simplesmente concordaram com os primeiros pares, e depois quando fez com a Austrália, Shanghai and
Germany.
Thank you. E a Alemanha, eles simplesmente avisaram que já estava na hora de trocar os pares deles. Yes, thank you. Para não ficar nada caótico.
E quais são as etapas metodológicas que vocês adotam?
Which are the methodological steps taken by you?
E como se aplicam essas práticas?
And how do they apply to these practices?
Henning?
Okay, well, ich dachte, du wüsstest. Okay, so it depends on what you mean with methodological steps. We had sort of a framework which we set, like any set most of the frameworks in the beginning and the structures.
Depende do que você quer dizer pelos passos metodológicos, mas nós tivemos os trabalhos de frames.
And every time something new popped up, like the screenshots, we had discussions among each other. What do we do with this, and how do we develop this further, or how can we combine this with blind contour drawing or other artistic techniques?
Ok. E toda vez que surgia algo novo, como os screenshots, os prints, eles discutiam sobre como desenvolver isso e como colaborar com o trabalho do Skype Lab.
And probably Javiera can tell something about the protocol sheets.
E provavelmente a Javiera pode falar sobre os papéis.
Okay, we began our sessions always just a little small talk and then drawing, and then we just draw the whole session. But at the end, when you finish, you must write all the impressions of the session in a protocol sheet. The time, the actor.
Sorry. It was a little bit hard to understand. The sound is not very good, but you said you had to. Could you repeat the last part, please?
Yes. Yes, but at the end of each session, we had to write our impressions.
No caso de cada desenho, nós tivemos que escrever nossas impressões.
For example, how long it was, what were your feelings, what did you observe during the session.
Por exemplo, os seus sentimentos e o que você pôde observar durante a sessão.
And then we analyze at the end of each period of Skype Lab, we analyze this information and we put it together.
Ok, e ao final de cada sessão, eles analisavam tudo e reuniam as informações.
Yeah, it was with this information we got more ideas or more about the project itself, and yeah.
Ok, e aí puderam ter mais ideias sobre o projeto.
So at the beginning, there were just basically three rules: meet the stranger, do the drawings, and do the protocol sheet at the end. And everything else was open.
Ok, então no início tinham 3 etapas: conhecer o desconhecido, so it was meet the stranger and what?
Do the blind contour drawings together.
Fazer o desenho cego juntos, né?
And then write your protocol at the end.
Escrever protocolo, talvez relatório no final. Okay?
Yes, that was.
Acho que isso responde a pergunta. Obrigada. Vou passar para Ana Sara Zacarias.
Okay, that answers it. Thank you very much. Now turn to Ana Sara Zacarias.
Entendemos que o desenho pode promover um processo de construção.
We understand that drawings can be integral in promoting the development.
E percepção das identidades e subjetividades.
And the perception of identity and subjectivism.
Como vocês veem o potencial de transformação humano através da experiência no Skype Lab?
How do you see the potential of human transformation through Skype Lab experiences?
I would think it's about to experience and to live the emotional side of technological or digital developments, and what we thought,
É sobre viver o lado emocional do desenvolvimento tecnológico.
So the emotional part is very important because these technologies have a big emotional impact.
E o lado emocional é muito importante porque as tecnologias têm impacto emocional muito grande.
And we thought that we could probably regain a bit of sovereignty of the interpretation of these technologies, and don't leave them to technologists but to artists.
Pensamos que podemos ter serenidade, serenity to what?
To sovereignty of the interpretation of technology or digital things.
Da serenidade de interpretação das coisas digitais. Yes.
Através da arte.
Through arts, yes.
And for us, I think it was a great potential, if you will, to learn from different cultures. We have talked for hours to Chinese students. They were telling us about their lives. So I think it's also the potential of easily learning through this technology and using this drawing technique just to have kind of fun with each other. So I think that was a great learning experience through cultures for me.
Ok, então foi aprendizado sobre culturas. Eles tiveram oportunidade de conversar durante horas com pessoas da China, e aí tem esse potencial de aprendizado cultural.
Vocês falaram sobre as diferentes culturas e as trocas que existem.
So you talked about the different cultures and the exchanging you can do between them.
E a nossa pergunta é sobre isso também.
And our question is also about it.
Quais são as diferenças de um país para o outro nas aplicações das atividades no laboratório?
So what are the differences in applying the lab activities from one country to another?
E quais são as dificuldades que vocês enfrentaram nas práticas realizadas?
What are the difficulties faced in the practice performed?
Well, we mentioned some, which is time difference of culture, which we sometimes underestimated.
Diferenças de cultura e do horário que nós subestimamos.
Then what Maggie and I didn't think of was also body language and mimic.
Ok, e Maggie e eu não pensamos sobre a mímica e linguagem corporal.
Or, for example, one of our students made in a Skype Lab meeting an experiment about personal distance.
Dos alunos fez, através do Skype, experimento sobre distância pessoal, personal distance studies.
You know, when you're in an elevator and people get too close to you, it feels uncomfortable.
Como, por exemplo, quando você está no elevador e as pessoas se aproximam muito de você e você se sente desconfortável.
And she figured out that this doesn't happen via the screen. So I could come very close to you and you wouldn't feel uncomfortable. So, but the personal distance is actually too small.
Ok, e nós percebemos que online não tem esse problema, eu posso chegar muito perto de você ou da câmera e não há um desconforto.
And what we experience now is communicating in a foreign language.
E o que experienciamos agora é comunicar numa língua estrangeira.
And there were also technological differences. For instance, in China, certain technologies were not available, so we had to work around.
Então, tivemos diferenças tecnológicas também. Na China, eles tinham tecnologias que não estavam disponíveis para eles, então tivemos que dar o nosso jeito.
Obrigada pelas respostas. Agora vou passar a palavra para a Luísa.
Thank you for answers. Now I'll turn to Luísa.
Em 2021, vocês criaram a instalação 468 pixels, com as imagens produzidas durante os 8 anos de trabalho do Skype Lab.
So in 2021, you created the 468 pixels installation with images produced during the 8 years of Skype Lab work.
E com esses trabalhos do Skype Lab, vocês foram capazes de criar um novo todo. Como um jogo digital que simula o ambiente virtual e a sua tecnologia.
And then you were able to create a whole new one, like a digital game, which simulates the virtual environment and its technology.
Vocês consideram como um produto final ou pretendem manter o projeto seguindo a linha de pesquisa entre a arte e a tecnologia?
Do you consider a final product, or do you intend to keep the project following a research line between arts and technology?
I think this has to be answered by all three of us, because we're not sure whether the project is finished, and there are already some offsprings from this project. So we have... Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Então, tem que ser respondido por nós três, porque nós não temos certeza ainda, e existem novas criações que podem ter a partir desse projeto.
And as we have developed this over 10 years in different stages,
desenvolvemos em 10 anos em diferentes estágios.
We tried to adapt it to technological and social developments during this time.
Tentamos adaptar aos desenvolvimentos tecnológicos e sociais durante esse tempo.
And I think personally now it's getting very difficult to continue with this project, but that might just be my age.
E pessoalmente estou difícil continuar com esse projeto, mas pode ser apenas por conta da minha idade.
You had suggested that we might show some pictures, then it might be easier to mention. But yeah, we have discussed several times the final installation, and then things came up again.
Hold on. So, vocês sugeriram mostrar imagens, e isso pode facilitar a explicação. Mas, could you repeat the last part, please?
Not sure. I think the last sentence was, but other ideas came up again. So we thought the project was over, and then we we were invited to do something else. And
Ok. Pensamos que o projeto já estava terminado, mas nós fomos convidados a fazer outras coisas, porque surgiram novas ideias.
Ok. Passar para Sara Zacarias.
Que é o Sara Zacarias again.
Os 3 pilares do nosso projeto em arte são o ensino, pesquisa e a extensão às comunidades.
The 3 pillars of our arts projects are the learning, research, extension programs, and to the communities.
Que são princípios que a gente percebeu que também aparecem no Skype Lab.
Principles which you also have in Skype Lab.
Para vocês, como a pesquisa e a produção artística se relacionam com a abordagem educacional?
So, to you, how do research and artistic production relate with the educational approach?
It related perfectly as we started a teaching process in our masters, which we called Forschendes Lernen, which is research learning. So it's both. It's not just, sorry, I forget.
You got carried away. Just keep
repeat?
Yeah, please, during the master's.
Okay. It fitted perfectly because in our masters we had a focus on research learning.
Ok. Se encaixou perfeitamente porque durante o mestrado eles tiveram um projeto de pesquisa e aprendizado.
So not just provide facts, but let the students research themselves and get their own results and facts.
Okay, então não somente prover os fatos, mas deixa os estudantes fazerem suas próprias pesquisas e resultarem com novos fatos. Okay.
And I think artists are quite good at creating something that is fun to do and combining.
I'm going to ask you to take a few more pauses, please.
Okay.
Então, ela acha que os artistas são bons em criar coisas novas, creating new things, and what?
Yes, and combining that with education and research is very helpful to overcome certain boundaries, I think.
E combinar isso com a educação é capaz de superar barreiras e fronteiras que possam existir. Yes. Okay, thank you.
Obrigada. É interessante a importância que vocês dão para a autonomia dos estudantes.
Thank you. It's very nice the importance you give to the students' autonomy.
Uhum. Agora a Luísa fará uma próxima pergunta.
Now Luísa will do the next question.
Como vocês viram o experimento em relação às mudanças de hábito com a tecnologia em função da pandemia?
So, how did you interpret the experiment in relation to the changing habits with technology because of the pandemic?
Vocês acham que o projeto foi um experimento que facilitou durante esse momento atípico?
Do you think the project was an experiment which facilitated during this atypical moment?
Henning or Javiera, would you like to ask the first part of the questions?
Sure, I can speak for myself. When it started in 2020 and everyone was suddenly online and forced to be online, for me, for me, it was like a deja vu. You know, like everyone was doing this and forced or involuntarily, and we were doing it for voluntarily or for fun, let's say, in 2012.
Ok. Então, para mim foi como um déjà vu, porque a maioria das pessoas estava fazendo isso forçadamente ou involuntariamente, mas em 2012 a gente já fazia isso por diversão, voluntariamente. Yes. Nice.
Well, of course, Skype Lab, we didn't know about the pandemic, but it was not designed to compensate anything like a pandemic.
Ok. Ele foi desenvolvido online, mas nós não sabíamos da pandemia, então ele não foi feito para compensar nenhuma questão da pandemia.
And I, for myself, discovered a big difference between the Skype Lab project and the video conferences and calls through pandemic.
Descobri diferenças muito grandes nas conferências do Skype Lab para outras conferências online
during pandemic.
Yes, durante a pandemia.
I would say Skype Lab was very active, and the video calls or conferences or meetings or teaching via pandemic was very passive.
Todas essas conferências, reuniões e aulas durante a pandemia foram muito passivas, very passive. Okay.
No one through Skype Lab would have had the idea to turn the camera off.
Ninguém do Skype Lab teria tido a ideia de desligar a câmera. Yes.
There was another big difference. At that time, we had a lot more technological problems than today.
Mais problemas tecnológicos do que agora.
There was a lot more bad connections, pixelations, and that's where the later Pixel project came from as well.
E foi assim que surgiu o projeto de Pixels depois.
Yes.
O nosso projeto, ele foi desenvolvido para acontecer no presencial e também tivemos que adaptar durante a pandemia, como várias pessoas.
So our project was made to be in person, and then after the pandemic, we also had to adapt to the online form like everybody else. Yes.
E por isso a gente criou também as Conversas Criativas, que são uma dessas ramificações do online.
So that's why we created the Creativity Conversations, which is an online way to communicate.
Então, obrigada assim, pela disponibilidade de vocês para responder as perguntas. E vocês gostariam de apresentar algum material para a gente?
Okay, so thank you once again for your availability and answering our questions. So would you like to present or show us any projects, pictures, anything from you?
I can try to share my screen. I'm not sure how to do it. Let's see.
Vou tentar compartilhar minha tela, não tem como certeza como faz. Near the turn off button, you have a screen on your right side, and then you click on it and it says like share full screen. There you go.
Okay, but now you see yourselves, I think.
Yeah.
Do you see my slide now?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So I'm just going to clean up my screen. Okay, do you see this now, the drawing?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So Henning, Javiera, you just come in whenever you think fit. So these, this would be an example for a blind contour drawing. Here's another one.
São exemplos de desenho cego.
And here's a little collection of them.
Uma coleção deles.
And you can see that since you're not looking at the drawings, you create really funny faces.
Já que você não está olhando para o desenho, você cria rostos, faces engraçadas.
And then Henning mentioned that we started doing screenshots all of a sudden, using different methods.
Henning mencionou que começamos a usar print screen, screenshots, como diferentes métodos.
Some would use the camera, others would use the normal screenshot function on their computers, or some use their...
Different.
And this was the Brazilian artists and German artists.
Artistas brasileiros e alemães.
And then here's an...
tentando reconhecer se tem alguém que a gente conhece.
We're trying to recognize, to see if there is anybody we recognize.
Okay.
I think one is Oliviera Henderson, isn't it?
Olivia who?
Oliviera Henderson. Olivia? Well, forget it.
Right.
O Anderson Oliveira. Sim.
Anderson Oliveira, okay.
So here's an example for the technical problems that we had at the beginning.
Exemplo dos problemas técnicos que tivemos no início.
Which have certain aesthetics which we could transform into art.
O que nós podemos transformar em arte.
And the idea was taken to different artistic methodologies, different techniques.
A ideia foi levada a diferentes metodologias e técnicas artísticas.
So here would be a photograph that was taken in Shanghai. That was a meeting, a personal meeting. So students would do the same thing they did on screen, just this time in person.
Ok, então essa é uma foto que foi tirada em Shanghai, numa reunião presencial. Eles estavam fazendo a mesma coisa que faziam online, só que presencialmente.
Here you see some images from the exhibition in Reutlingen, in Germany.
Fotos de exibição feita na Alemanha.
Here, this is one of my artworks that I call Emails and Hair. I printed out all emails from just 1 month of Skype Lab conversations and shredded them.
Okay,
so there was a lot of...
essa é uma arte minha, chamada... Could you say the name again, please? Of your art project?
Oh, I call it Emails and Hair.
E-mails e cabelo, is that emails? Ok, então ela shred, botou na máquina de Cecília, help me.
Picotar. Não tem essa palavra em português.
Mas é isso aí, na máquina de picotar. Durante a pandemia.
Right, and here is Javiera did an all-over artwork with these lines in the gallery. Javiera, would you like to say a few words?
Ok, então esse foi o projeto da Javiera, que fez por todo o espaço. Okay, you're going to say that?
Yeah, this work shows all the ways, all the paths that the participants made within 3 days, each one in their own cities. And I took the same...
Então, isso mostra o caminho que os alunos fizeram. The way the student went through 3 days, is that what you said?
Yes, 3 days. They packed with the GPS, and then I reproduced them in the gallery.
Um caminho de GPS.
Sim, o caminho que eles andaram por ali, usou o GPS e ela reproduziu com essas fitas.
So this was a different exhibition view. And here the artist took these really fast drawings and she made this needlepoint art which takes a lot of time. So she played with...
Ela fez esses desenhos rápidos que... What takes a lot of time?
Needlepoint. This is...
Pontilhadas de agulha demoram muito tempo.
And then here are some examples.
Just a minute. So what she did is this fast thing, she returned it back to something very slow, and she took the technology back to handcraft work.
Nice. Ok, então desse desenho rápido, a princípio, ela transformou em um projeto lento, utilizando as agulhas. Então passou da tecnologia para o trabalho manual.
Grace Leone is the artist, by the way.
No, Clara. Claire McCracken.
Oh, oh, yes, I'm sorry. Claire McCracken, exactly. And then here is one example from Rio.
Um exemplo do Rio.
Foi um exemplo nosso do Rio.
There were, we had bio mediation, like with technology to capture the bio impulses, like blood pressure and things like that. It's like a contribution from minor Freud and Fanny.
Should I translate that, or it's not necessary?
Should, yeah.
Okay, então usou biomedidores para medir pulsação, pressão sanguínea, and what else? E o que mais?
During the drawing sessions.
Okay, durante as sessões de desenho. Okay.
Also there with the eye movement, we had the computer to get the also the biomediation of eye movement during the drawing section. So you have like a parallel of computer image processing and drawing.
A gente usou eye tracking durante as sessões de desenho e fizemos montagens com os desenhos que foram feitos e o eye tracking que foi registrado. So we did, I'm going to translate very quickly. So we recorded the eye tracking and then we overlapped the eye tracking with the drawings.
Right, thank you. Yes, you know these things better than we do. Here, I think this is one of your photos, Franny, from the workshop.
Yes, I'm going to say it in Portuguese first and then I'll translate to the English.
Okay.
Isso foi no encontro que teve entre os estudantes da Alemanha que vieram para o Brasil e os estudantes da EBA. Nós fizemos 2 ou 3 dias de workshop no LAMSI, no Parque Tecnológico, e isso foi durante esse encontro. So this was the workshop that we did in Rio at LAMSI with the students that came from Germany and the students that took part in the project here in the Federal University.
Right, and Javiera has mentioned the protocol sheets that the students did from the very beginning, and at the end.
Os protocolos que os alunos fizeram desde o início.
And then one of the students at that time did these infographics, basically visualizing the information from the protocol sheets.
E os alunos fez esse infográfico visualizando as informações desse protocolo.
As well as showing the stations, so where Skypelab has been and what has happened.
Mostrando as estações onde o Skypelab esteve e o que aconteceu.
And here we have mentioned this 1,000-pixel exhibition, which was shown in Berlin.
E aqui nós mencionamos uma De 1000 pixels, uma apresentação feita em Berlim. De 1000
Exposição, não.
Exposição, thank you.
At the state representation of Baden-Württemberg in 2019, end of 2019 and beginning of 2020.
Final de 2019, início de 2020. Yes,
right.
In the beginning.
So, and what we did here, we basically made a huge collage with all the artworks that we had. This is just one small part of it.
Nós fizemos uma colagem muito grande com todos os projetos que tinham, mas aqui é só uma pequena parte.
This is just another image. We had 3 walls of this size, full of pixels.
Tínhamos 3 paredes desse lado cheias de pixels.
And then later we developed a different project with the very same pixels using not 1,000 but 468 pixels for a media art festival.
E depois desenvolvemos projeto usando esses mesmos pixels, mas em 10.000, apenas 468. The last part was for a media art.
It was a media art festival in the Black Forest region in Germany.
Okay. O Festival de Artes na Alemanha. Festival da mídia de artes. Okay.
And this we consider the final installation, let's say, which was presented in Stuttgart at the Staatsgalerie.
As a project, as a final project, you said?
The final installation, we consider it at the moment, yes.
No momento considerávamos uma instalação final feita na Alemanha. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Could you go back, Henning? Just
yes. To which
2
one?
slides. Yeah, thank you. Because we thought that the project would finish at the state representation in Berlin. When the pictures were taken down.
Porque a gente achou que o projeto ia terminar ali na Alemanha, as imagens foram retiradas.
And then we were asked to do this installation at this Media Arts Festival.
Então nos pediram para fazer essa instalação no Festival de Artes.
And then we said, well, this is now really, really, really the end.
Então agora é realmente o fim.
And then we got the invitation to show an installation in the State Gallery in Stuttgart.
Então, recebemos o convite de apresentar essa instalação no Instituto Stuttgart.
So we had to get the pixels which were destroyed with the house or before, get them down, and they were all destroyed.
Nós tivemos que pegar esses pixels e eles estavam completamente destruídos.
And we created this installation called Skypelab Echoes, which are the echoes of all the former Skypelab activities.
Okay, então criamos projeto chamado Skypelab Echoes dos Skypelabs, which has all the echoes of what? All Skypelabs what? The last part which said.
Que eram os restos, né? Os papéis finais, quase as sobras, né,
dos projetos.
Acho que eram as sobras daquele projeto do festival que eles fizeram na casa.
So that was our last slide, but on the website there is some more information.
Ok, esse é o último slide, mas no site tem mais informação.
So, and now I have to go back to seeing you, which I don't know how to do.
Eu tenho uma pergunta sobre uma imagem.
She has a question about a picture, so...
Okay.
Eu perdi o tempo para perguntar.
I missed the timing, right? But, você quer que ela volte a apresentação?
Tem uma imagem que os alunos estão desenhando juntos num papel grande.
Students are drawing a big paper. Is it like a reunião presencial que eles tiveram?
Isso, desenho cego.
I'm gonna go back.
Okay.
Was it the one in Shanghai?
Yes.
Table. Well, we were in one of the world's biggest shopping malls, Global Harbor, and it was empty.
Maiores shoppings.
Então, pergunta se eles acharam muito diferente fazer esse exercício de desenho cego presencialmente e pelo Skype, as diferenças.
So she wants to know if it was too different to do this blind drawing in person and online.
Very different, Javiera. Maybe when I met you in Shanghai the first time, you looked much smaller.
Muito diferente, porque quando ela conheceu a Javiera em Shanghai, ela parecia muito menor.
Fala que eu conheci a Sila pessoalmente e a gente também se estranhou fora da tela.
Yeah, she also met Sila in person and she also thought it was strange, something strange about it.
Because it was after 2 years of pandemic, working together online. Depois de longo tempo na pandemia, we start to meet each other. You know, a lot of students never had the presential art class. Na maioria, alguns dos estudantes, como vocês, entraram já na pandemia e they're gonna start now to meet each other. I would like to say that it was really important moment for me and Franny and Mayra Preuss to have a Skype Lab with us and working, you know, with the students. And also I brought these students we have now, you know, Luisa and Yasmin and Asara and all our students from the group we have. It's also an extension, so it's also like a kind of extra work they are doing. And Skype Lab is inspiration for us to think about different workshops and to deal with this new moment of relationship between technology and art. So I'm gonna say it a little bit in Portuguese to have the translation here for the public. Isso, eu queria dizer que foi uma experiência muito importante para a gente no momento que a gente recebeu o Skype Lab aqui no Brasil, com o grupo da Mayra Frois, da Frani, comigo, e nossos estudantes, né, e que agora esse grupo de extensão toma o Skype Lab como uma referência importante para lidar com a tecnologia e a arte depois toda essa experiência, né, da pandemia e estudos online. And also, like, we have this experience to return to the presential and to take advantage, you know, to deal with this also in as a Skype Lab, you know, the moment we had the presence and have other experience and to see the differences. E também esse momento que a gente vai ter de retorno ao presencial para também fazer nossas experiências entre a tecnologia e o presencial, entre as experiências online e a presencial. Also, thank for all to come and talk to us.
Well, thank you for contacting us, Luisa.
Vielen Dank für Ihre Aufmerksamkeit.
Yeah. May I say something? I thank you too, of course, but I just want to point out that this talk and interview was very well structured and that it was really perfectly conducted. and showed that you're real professionals in this case. So I'm very impressed with this. And so it was very easy for us to do this because of your structure.
Ok, então a gente está agradecendo muito que a estrutura foi boa, foi bem conduzida e eles gostaram muito, então estão agradecendo bastante. Foi fácil para eles.
Karina, antes de passar a palavra para Amanda, que vai encerrar, eu gostaria de agradecer aos professores imensamente a atenção e a disponibilidade de nos abrir uma luz para o desenho cego, né, complementar os nossos ensinamentos aqui dentro da Universidade Federal, dentro da Escola de Belas Artes.
So he appreciates very much the insight that you guys have given them, so that inside of Federal University of Rio De Janeiro, this insight will help us very much. So in the future, whenever doing the blind drawing projects in the community we work at, you have given us so much insight and learnings and teachings that we're all gonna enjoy very much this and take advantage of this knowledge so we can do a good job at the community. Thank you.
Atualmente, como é que a gente faz para participar do Skype Lab?
So she wants to know currently how can we participate in Skype Lab.
Well, Maggie and I decided that Skype Lab is now an open source, so that every university could use the idea or the structure or parts of it. You just have to mention the creators of Skype Lab.
Ok, então eles decidiram que agora é uma fonte aberta para qualquer universidade que queira usufruir, só tem que apenas mencionar os criadores do Skype Lab.
And if I were you, I would ask Annie and Javiera.
E se eu fosse você, eu perguntaria a Annie e a Javiera.
Because I suspect they didn't have enough yet.
They didn't have enough yet of the project, you mean? Que elas ainda não tiveram suficiente.
Yes, well, we do love the project very much. That's true.
Amamos muito o projeto.
And you're welcome to always ask us if you have any questions. Yes.
E você é bem-vinda a sempre perguntar caso tenha dúvidas, perguntas.
But you also have Franny close by, I think, and she knows a lot too.
Mas você tem a Franny por perto e ela também sabe bastante.
Fala que a gente vai ter uma segunda parte com a entrevista com a Mayra Frois e a Franny.
We have a second part with an interview with Mayra Frois and who? And quem?
Franny.
Oh, Franny.
Então agora a gente vai passar a palavra para a Amanda, que vai finalizar.
Okay, so Amanda will now do the last part. Yeah.
Bom dia, eu sou Amanda. Eu sou licencianda em Artes Plásticas e Cientista Social.
Okay, so my name is Amanda. I am an undergraduate in Artistic Arts and Artes Plásticas e o que mais?
Social Science.
Social Science. Very good.
Faço parte dos grupos brasileiros que organizaram o encontro de hoje.
So I take part in the Brazilian groups which arranged today's meeting.
Os projetos de ensino, pesquisa e extensão Arte 2, Pé de Moleque, Enganando o Olho, agradecemos muito a participação do Skype Lab.
So all of us from the Arte 2, Pé de Moleque, Enganando o Olho, Learning and Research Extension Projects, we thank you so much for Skype Lab's participation.
Agradecemos a tradução da Karine Souza.
We also thank Karine translation.
E também as professoras Mayra Frois e Franny Nogueira, do Lamar.
So we also thank the teachers Mayra Frois and Franny Nogueira from Lamar.
Também fazemos parte do grupo. Gostaríamos de agradecer a Ana Sara Zacarias, Yasmin Gomes, Mariana Gomes, a Catarina Xavier, Laura Procassi, Luísa Souza, Giovana Rita, Jean Paiva, Melissa, Flávia, Karine e os novos estudantes que vêm somando ao grupo esse ano.
All right, so we all like to thank all the people who are here and the new students who are going to be part of this year.
Acreditamos na importância de construir e mover novas redes.
So we believe in the importance of setting up and moving around new networks.
Compartilhando saberes a partir do diálogo constante centrado nos diversos fazeres artísticos.
Sharing our knowledge through the constant dialogue focused on artistic performance.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Agradecemos esse encontro e lembramos que ele foi gravado.
So we would like to remind you that this interview has been recorded.
E será publicado no nosso canal do YouTube.
And will be published on our YouTube channel.
O link da gravação será enviado por e-mail.
The recording link will be sent by email.
Esperamos que esse encontro tenha sido igualmente significativo para vocês, como foi para nós.
And we hope this meeting has been equally meaningful to you as it has been for us.
Mais uma vez, obrigada e boa tarde, bom dia.
Alright, so once again, thank you and have a good day, good afternoon.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you.